Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Manchester United overcame a horror start to beat Premier League strugglers Ipswich and end their awful run. The hosts endured a nightmare opening few minutes as horrible miscommunication between Patrick Dorgu and Andre Onana gifted Ipswich the lead. But United regrouped and soon found themselves ahead, thanks to a Sam Morsy own goal and a strike from Matthijs de Ligt. But things then got tricky for the Red Devils, as Patrick Dorgu was sent off for an awful challenge on Omari Hutchinson. Philogene then levelled matters once again moments before the break. Harry Maguire restored United's lead only moments after the restart from yet another set-piece, securing a chaotic victory. Take a look at all of the talking points from Old Trafford. In a season that has been strewn with a host of incomprehensible errors, the worst of them was potentially witnessed on Wednesday as Ipswich claimed the lead. January signing Dorgu attempted to deal with a long ball by playing it back to Onana. Unfortunately, the Cameroonian was far out of his goal as Dorgu's pass dribbled past him and into the path of Philogene. The Ipswich forward gleefully accepted the ball and tapped it into the empty net. It was an error that many in Old Trafford could simply not believe, albeit it is becoming less and less of a surprise as a calamitous season for the Red Devils continues. Best as he did at Everton, Bruno Fernandes gave United a route back into the game from a free kick. Alejandro Garnacho was hauled down on the left, and the Portuguese playmaker stepped up. His wicked cross caused havoc in the Ipswich penalty area and thundered into the back of the net via Sam Morsy. Fernandes then earned another assist as his corner eventually found the net via de Ligt. He secured his treble by teeing up United's second-half winner from another corner. It was the sixth consecutive goal United had scored from a Fernandes set-piece. You just have to wonder how much worse United would be without their captain. Given United's woes, they will certainly have been hoping some fortune went their way sooner rather than later, and it did as they went ahead. From a Fernandes corner, Harry Maguire saw a header saved. Diogo Dalot followed up, but was also brilliant denied by Alex Palmer. But the ball fell to de Ligt, who smashed home his second goal of the season. Given United's struggles for goals this season, Amorim will certainly be thrilled to see them coming through other routes. It's very rare things are rosy very long for United, and they got even redder before half-time. Dorgu, at fault for Ipswich's goal, crunched in on Omari Hutchinson near the dugouts, and on second viewing, the Ipswich man was very lucky to avoid a very serious injury. Having only awarded a free kick for the challenge initially, the referee was called over to the VAR area and subsequently sent Dorgu off. And it is very difficult to argue that it was the wrong decision. The defender will now miss the next 3 matches. With the man advantage, Ipswich then hauled themselves level, and it was another goal that was a defensive mess for United. Philogene picked up the ball deep and attempted a teasing ball into the box. Liam Delap stuck out a boot, but failed to get any contact, with Philogene's initial cross nestling into the far corner of Onana's net. After saving United in their FA Cup clash with Leicester a few weeks ago, Maguire was at it again against Ipswich, but this time it came slightly earlier. From another Fernandes corner, the defender ghosted in unmarked towards the penalty spot. He remained unchallenged as the ball reached him, and he practically had to stoop to nod the ball into the net. It was the third set-piece that Amorim's side had scored on the evening, and ended up being a priceless one to secure the win. Alejandro Garnacho will have to answer 2 questions for Ruben Amorim after heading straight for the dressing room after he was substituted. The United winger was sacrificed for some defensive reinforcement after Patrick Dorgu was sent off in Wednesday night's win over Ipswich Town. Garnacho traipsed off the pitch to be replaced by Noussair Mazraoui before heading down the touchline to the tunnel. The 20-year-old, who was linked with a move away from United in January, appeared to indicate it was to change his shirt. Old Trafford was home to heavy rain leaving players sodden. The Red Devils coach is sure to have been left frustrated by Garnacho detracting from 3 points, even if they were not entirely convincing. United recovered from a goal down to win 3-2 at home against the Tractor Boys, but Garnacho threw another spanner in the works when he posted a picture of himself heading off the pitch to his Instagram story. Amorim has already confirmed that he will speak to Garnacho about his quick exit from the field, and he may well be left with further questions after his players' post stirred the pot, regardless of his intention. Questions over possible discontent will feel like familiar territory for the 40-year-old since his arrival at the club. "You are making a connection with Marcus Rashford, right?" "I know," Amorim said following the game. "What I am seeing is that I'm going to talk, obviously, with Garnacho about that. So I will talk about that if you want in the next press conference." It was cold and wet, maybe, Amorim had initially suggested when asked whether Garnacho had been handed permission to head straight to the dressing room. While the result paid off for Amorim, the former Sporting boss nevertheless explained his decision to sacrifice Garnacho's attacking impetus. The Portuguese coach's priority was to retain his side's shape. The thinking was that we would play 5-3-1. That is a risk because Garnacho is the one who can play 1v1 in pace, Amorim said. But I felt the team was okay in the controlling of the game almost at half-time, and then we make the substitution. We had to choose someone to go out. We have to think about set pieces also, so it was my choice. The choice had caused some consternation during the game, with Ipswich quickly equalising before the break, before Harry Maguire's second-half winner. I was surprised to see Alejandro Garnacho come off after the red card because he pushes the team the other way, Rio Ferdinand said. Manchester United are used to Fernandes spearheading their rescue acts, only this time there were two Fernandeses. Carlos Fernandes, the assistant manager and set-piece coach, has taken plenty of flack for United's penchant for conceding from dead ball kicks. United's recovery against Ipswich Town was through three up the other end. Fernandes stood in the technical area and choreographed the United players before his namesake swung the ball in on two separate occasions in the first half. Bruno Fernandes claimed another direct assist for Harry Maguire 2 minutes into the second half. Maguire returned to United's half, raised his arm and clenched his fist, eliciting a relieved roar from the Stretford end. The glory was Maguire's, but his successor as captain, Fernandes, remains United's talisman 5 years on from his season-salvaging arrival from Lisbon. Fernandes's focus never wavered. At one moment, late in the second half, he paused for a much-needed breather. Fernandes debuted for United in February 2020, and he is 6 games shy of equaling Luke Shaw in United's all-time appearance list. Shaw first played for United in September 2014. Ruben Amorim treaded the same path as Fernandes and has practically had the opposite effect. All three bottom sides have gone 1-0 up at Old Trafford this calendar year, but United defeated all of them. Amorim rubbed his hands optimistically at 3-2 on the hour, sensing a shift in mood. The mood on the terraces was not too celebratory. "We want Glazers out. Just like the Glazers, Jim Ratcliffe's a cot and 66, you're taking the parts were all aired by the Stretford end with United ahead. This was not a victory to boost the goal difference column ahead of a treacherous FA Cup tie against Fulham on Sunday. United are not lacking in resilience at least, and have now triumphed twice with 10 men under Amorim after the spirited cup tie at Arsenal. This was the first time United had scored twice in the first half of a Premier League match since Amorim arrived, also against relegation fodder Southampton. Yet the first 45 minutes were still teeming with chaos. 1-0 down in the 4th minute, with the Sir Bobby Charlton stand's roof leaking again and Patrick Dorgu red-carded. It had the makings of another chapter in the crisis manual, particularly when Alejandro Garnacho was hooked in the 45th minute. Garnacho stomped down the tunnel and Ipswich equalised within 2 minutes. The 20-year-old was United's most consistent attacking threat, and his withdrawal one of a handful of illogical selections Amorim has made. He attempted to console the winger, sodden from the rain, yet Garnacho stoically continued past him and towards the dressing room. A personnel change was understandable to counter Dorgu's dismissal, with no obvious disciplined left winger to turn to from the other starters. Sacrificing Garnacho over the impotent Rasmus Højlund was not. When Højlund had service, he dummied the ball for an Ipswich player. He was still treated to encouraging applause and reciprocated. United are so bad that Ipswich have a superior striker. Noussair Mazraoui reacted as if he was aware that Liam Delap is a City alumni when he barged him to the turf, drawing frenzied approval from United supporters. The atmosphere for a midweek fixture against a promoted team that some supporters could not shift their season tickets for was one of the best of the season. Lenny Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee were serenaded by the Stretford end. United conceded first for the 21st time out of 41 games this season, and this was the most comical. It took fewer than 3 weeks for Patrick Dorgu to be reduced to his teammates' level as he unwittingly gifted Jadon Philogene a tap-in. Whatever Andre Onana said, or didn't say, as he made himself available for the pass, he was within touching distance of Dorgu, who somehow could not see the 6'4" goalkeeper in green. After the briefest of inquests, Onana offered supportive applause for his teammate. When Dorgu nervously nodded the ball into touch 6 minutes later, one of the Ipswich analysts bullishly clapped. Their mood changed when Axel Tuanzebe attempted a pot shot in the 77th minute. If Onana could be excused for the first goal, his dilatory reaction to Philogene's second was inexcusable. He smacked his palms confidently as he strode out for kickoff, but his glove work was awry again. Some United fans sarcastically cheered when Onana caught one cross. Ipswich captain Sam Morsy turned the game on its head by heading the ball past Alex Palmer. United were given a literal helping hand by goalkeeper Palmer, palming the ball back into harm's way once too often for Matthijs de Ligt's opportunistic finish. Diogo Dalot celebrated de Ligt's strike wildly. It was merely Ipswich, 18th placed and bound for the championship. Yet they are in United's slipstream these days. Ipswich's fans were audibly exasperated by their ponderous play with their side 2-1 down.